This is my favorite show ever. Stargate SG-1. One of the longest running and most influential sci-fi TV show. It aired from 1997 to 2007 for 10 seasons and follows the events of the 1994 Stargate movie. The premise is amazing. Beneath a military base called the Stargate Command, the US Air Force operates an ancient alien device called Stargate that can connect to another world through a wormhole. The SG-1 team is made up of Colonel Jack O'Neill, an Air Force colonel with a talent for improvisation and sarcasm, Dr. Daniel Jackson, an archaeologist and a linguist, Samantha Carter, a brilliant astrophysicist and also an Air Force officer, and Tilk, a former warrior of the Goa'uld who defects to help Earth. And my favorite episode of the show is from Season 4, Episode 6, Window of Opportunity. It's a time loop episode, like Groundhog Day. It even quotes that movie. The episode opens on another planet, where the SG-1 team accompanies scientist Malachi to investigate an ancient device. Daniel is helping to figure out the ancient ruins. The scientist Malachi seems obsessed by this device. A storm is approaching. Malachi says to Daniel that they should leave. Daniel doesn't understand he's being invited to leave, so Malachi shoots him. And he's stunned, he falls down. Then Carter says that it's time to leave, and O'Neill calls Daniel, who does not answer. Then we start seeing lightning striking the device. The device is capturing the lightning from the storm, and there's a chain of lightning going through the ruins and into the gate. It activates the gate, and we see on the other side, on Earth, that the lightning went through. Then they see that Daniel is on the ground, so Tilk and O'Neill jump on Malachi and grab him. At this time, the three of them are struck by lightning. We see a bright flash, and then time jumps, and Jack is back on the mess hall eating his Fruit Loops. And Daniel is in the middle of asking him a question that O'Neill doesn't even hear the start of it. Then they go to the briefing. Sam is explaining what they are going to do on that planet, and then O'Neill jumps in and says that they're already done that. And Jack already knows stuff from the mission that he was not supposed to know. And Tilk agrees with him. He also remembers. Tilk serves as a witness, so we never think that Jack is crazy. Both of them are experiencing this. Then the Stargate is activated, and both of them already know what's going to happen. It's SG-12 coming sooner, because one of them got injured. Everybody is surprised by this, and General Hammond sends them to be tested by Dr. Fraser. Daniel comes up with some data from the ancient device. And as he is explaining stuff to Jack, one of the XG personnel coming out of nowhere headbutts Daniel. Jack knows it was going to happen, but he doesn't stop it. Then Hammond reinstates both of them. The lab results were fine, but then the Stargate is dialed. Lightning strikes the gate, and then Jack is back on the mess hall, eating his Fruit Loops. And then they go back to the briefing. As soon as Carter starts speaking, Jack just interrupts and says that they are on a time loop and events seem to be repeating themselves. They already went to that planet. And then we see him timing the exact moment where the SG-12 is going to arrive. He misses by a few seconds. Again, they decide to test them. We got the same scene with Daniel showing up with the alien texts and getting headbutt and falling to the ground. We can see that Jack loves this. When Jack and Teal'c are reinstated this time, they say that they want to go back to the planet and fix this. And so they go back to that planet. They arrive pointing guns, trying to find Malachi. And they find him just by the device. O'Neill tells him to undo whatever he has done, that they are living in a time loop, because he pushed all those buttons. And then the storm comes up again, and the device starts moving. O'Neill orders Daniel to stop it, but Daniel says that he has no idea what to do. Then the lightning strikes the ruins, and Jack is back on the mess hall eating his Fruit Loops, and nobody else but him and Teal'c remembers this. But they learn that Malachi also remembers. The plan now is to put Daniel studying this device. And so Jack and Teal'c need to learn what Daniel learns, so that they can remember. Sam is also studying this phenomena, and she learns that they are stuck on a loop with 12 other planets that the gate has dialed. As Jack and Teal'c help Daniel studying the device, they start to get impatient, especially Jack. And here is where the comedy begins. They start doing crazy stuff, like both of them juggling balls. On another loop, Teal'c finds Jack on the mess hall. Instead of being helping Daniel, Jack even says that he's taking this loop off, as he's going wacko. We start to see how he's really going nuts with all these time loops. Then Daniel says something to them, that this is actually an opportunity. They can do anything, that time will reset anyway. There are no consequences. Teal'c and Jack's face says it all. They are now considering doing all kinds of crazy stuff. We get pure comedy from here. Jack is doing pottery. Both of them are playing golf in the gate room. They're riding bikes through the SGC, and most memorable of all, Jack gives his resignation to Hammond so he can kiss Carter. And then on the next loop we see him looking at Carter and smiling. Daniel figures out that the ancient device does not work. The ancients that built it never got it to work. They never managed to go back in time. Instead, time loops. They go back to the planet again. But this time, Malachi is expecting them and is protected by a force shield. Malachi says that they cannot do anything to stop him, and that he is still working on the device to go back. Daniel tells him that the device will not work. Even the ancients failed. But Malachi is convinced that he can make it work. Then, as Jack confronts his motives, Malachi opens up. He's grieving. He lost his wife, and he wants to go back to see her again. This is his mission, to go back in time and see his wife once again. We came from comedy to an emotional drama. Jack tells Malachi that even if he succeeds to see his wife again, he will have to relive her death again. And Jack opens up about losing his son, that he could never go through all that again. Malachi accepts reality. Malachi is touched by Jack's words. He cannot go through that again, and he shuts down the device. The time loop is broken. We see him looking at his wife's picture. Jack understands what he feels. And they go home. Back on the mess hall, Jack is now eating oatmeal. He really wants something different. Then Daniel asks the question if Jack did anything crazy because there were no consequences. And Jack smiles and looks to Carter. And that's a perfect ending for the episode. Time is now moving forward. Everyone else remembers nothing. But Jack and Teal'c remember everything. That's my favorite episode.